So if you've been looking for one of the best solo player builds to complete legendary missions, well, this is going to be that build for you. Because not only does it have damage, it also has survivability. And that is very hard to get in any type of legendary solo player build, because most people tend to run all reds, which is a great way to run a legendary build. But if you want to have something that allows you to make a little bit more mistakes, well, this is going to be that build for you. And it's typically the build that I use when I do anything solo in the Division 2. And this build is taking advantage of Season 3 Burden of Truth modifiers, as I like to call them, the AKA Golden Bullet modifiers. Probably one of the best modifiers we've had so far since the Division 2 has introduced them to us. So I will be showing you which modifiers I am using, so that way you guys can keep an eye out on which modifiers you might like to use with your build. But as always, I did want to show you guys some gameplay, because at the end of the day, you guys need to see that the build is actually working on legendary content, right? And as you guys are seeing, we have been taking down room by room, and I've been showing you clips from almost all of them. And don't worry, we'll also show you the boss room, because I feel like that's the most important one to let you guys know I did make it all the way through to the very end. Now, could I have a full run on here? Yes, but that would make the video a little bit longer than I like. And as you guys are seeing, we have absolutely been destroying these enemies, and I think it's time to head to the boss room. With that being said, I did want to mention that every single piece of equipment that I have on this can be farmed in the open world missions, countdown, and so on. You do not need to farm any legendary missions to have any of the gear pieces. You don't even have to farm the Dark Zone, and it's not a raid exclusive weapon or a weapon that was given to us at some point. So that makes this build even better, because, for instance, I love using the Lexington, but if I use the Lexington on this build, which it would work great, it would just make it seem like I'm running a weapon that half of the community does not have, and they're just waiting for it to be re-released. As we know that the devs have hinted at possibly giving this the Lexington again, but at the moment, not everybody has the Lexington. And well, you can already see I am not even using the Lexington. So just really wanted to point that one out, because I know a lot of people have been asking about the Lexington every time I drop a build, and there are a lot of other weapons you can run out there and perform just as good. Now, obviously, the Lexington is up there in the top tier, but again, there are plenty of weapons for you to use, especially this weapon that I'm currently using right now. But again, we're near the end. We have the boss. As you guys can see, this does not even feel like a legendary mission. Enemies are just dropping. We have lots of damage. We have the survivability from the Memento backpack, because you guys can see the Memento stacks dropping. And that's what's giving us that extra damage, survivability. And overall, the build is amazing to use, especially as a solo player. Now, one thing I do want to mention, guys, no matter how good a build is, no matter how bad a build is, remember, your play style can affect how good a build can be. For instance, there's players who like running glass cannon on the chest piece. And for me, I've never really enjoyed glass cannon because of the way you have to play that style of chess piece. But for some players, they love it. It's their go-to piece. So again, every build that gets put out, hopefully is a good build. And then after that, hopefully your playstyle matches up with that build. But there's definitely different builds for different playstyles in the Division 2, and that's the great thing about this. So I know you guys want to see the build, and some of you guys might be familiar with this, but for you new returning players, this could be a build you guys could work up to, especially if you want to do some solo content at that higher level. So let's get into the build and see what build I have been running this whole time. So for the weapon, you guys probably noticed I was running the St. Elmo's. We're sitting at 112,000 damage, 978 RPM, 70 magazines, 75% headshot damage. We have assault rifle, health damage, and then of course 10% damage to targets out of cover. Now we do have 25% expertise on this build, and obviously the talent is what makes this weapon so good. Being able to have 70 rounds of shock ammo can give you that survivability you need. Now you can't change any of the mods on the St. Elmo's, so the mods are the way they are. For the secondary, I do have the mop. I like this one because it's the only weapon that comes with the attribute of 10% armor on kill. Plus, I have preservation on here. Killing an enemy repairs 10% of the armor over 5 seconds. If I get a headshot kill, that's an additional 10%. Just giving you some survivability. For the mask, we are running a 4-piece striker, so we're going to get 15% weapon handling, 50% rate of fire, and then hopefully by now you know how striker gambles works. Weapon hits increase total weapon damage by 0.65%, stacking up to 100 times. Now we have 170,000 armor on here, crit damage, and a crit damage mod. For the chest, we are running the Cheska chest piece with 8% critical hit chance. We have 15% weapon damage, 12% crit damage, 6% crit chance, and a mod of 12% crit damage. And then I am running Obliterate. For our second piece of strikers, we are running the holster with weapon damage and critical hit damage. For our third piece of strikers, we have the knee pads with weapon damage, crit damage. For our fourth and final piece of strikers, we have the gloves, weapon damage, and crit chance. As I mentioned before, for the bag, we are running the Memento backpack with weapon damage, armor, skill tier, and we do have a crit chance mod. Now, can confirm is why this build is so good for solo players, because remember, I have 5 red, so every time I pick up a trophy, that's 25% weapon damage for 10 seconds. That's 20% bonus armor for 10 seconds, and then 5% skill efficiency for 10 seconds. But as a whole, I'm getting 30% weapon damage, 30% skill efficiency, and 3% armor regen when I'm at max stack on this bag, which is so good for solo players and allows you to survive. And refreshing the stack is very easy because you just have to go grab another trophy after you kill someone. So you can keep those max stacks for over the whole run of a legendary mission. If you look at our stats, we're 51% crit chance, 131% crit damage, 75% headshot damage, 21% health damage. Now we have 1.1 million armor, 112,000 armor on kill because we are running the gunner class. And obviously our armor regen isn't showing here because we don't have a current stack built right now, but that's going to be up to 3% of our armor. If we look at our modifiers, we're running the active modifier, overdrive, one of my favorite ones to run. Passive modifiers, critical recovery. We also have critical momentum. And then we do have microwave coils, but since I am running a shield, you want to put fortified shield here. Increases your skill shield's base health by 100%. So typically these are the active and passive modifiers I run on this build. For the skills themselves, I'm running the decoy drone and then the crusader shield. Those typically work really good here. If you don't want to run a decoy, then you could run microwave coils. But overall, I like the decoy. The enemies tend to focus it. Then I'm able to really just use my shield to protect me a little bit and then hopefully put out an insane amount of damage to drop them faster than they're able to eat through my shield or take me down, right? That's the name of the game. But that is the build right there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Again, remember, you guys can farm these, everything from the exotic bag to the exotic weapon in Countdown or in Summit, exotic caches, and then the gear pieces, open world, Countdown, wherever you want. See you in the next one. Nothing but skills is out.